served and volleyed his way into history. The smasher, Pete Sampras, unshakable under pressure, mastering power and precision like few ever could. He painted tennis with perfection. The artist, Roger Federer, every stroke a masterpiece of grace, precision, and effortless beauty. He fought every battle like a war. The warrior, Rafael Nadal, never giving up, heart blazing, fighting for every point as if it were his last. He rewrote the limits of dominance. The machine, Novak Djokovic, relentless and unbreakable, pushing beyond every boundary ever known. Those players and a few more were the most iconic who defined tennis. But guess what? Only one can be the GOAT. All right, let's get down to business. First up, you have to mention Rod Laver, the Rocket. This guy is the only player in history to win the Grand Slam twice. Think about that. All 4 majors in a single year. Not once, but twice. It's just mind-blowing. Then you've got the Iceman himself, Bjorn Borg. 5 straight Wimbledon titles, 6 at the French Open. He was this cool, calm, and collected force of nature on the court. A true baseline genius who changed the game with his powerful topspin. And of course, who could forget John McEnroe? The complete opposite of Borg's calmness, fiery, passionate, and unbelievably talented. His "you cannot be serious" outbursts are legendary, but so was his incredible touch and volleying skill. These guys weren't just players, they were icons who shaped tennis into what it is today. And then he arrived, Pete Sampras, with a serve that felt like a lightning strike, and a running forehand that was pure poetry. He didn't just play tennis, he commanded the court. His style was all about quiet dominance, a silent assassin who let his racket do all the talking. And that smash, nobody has ever owned the overhead smash quite like Pistol Pete. It was his signature, an exclamation point on his relentless attack. Of course, you can't talk about Sampras without mentioning Andre Agassi. Their rivalry was legendary, a clash of styles and personalities that defined an era. Fire versus ice, baseline grit versus serve and volley grace. And then, at the end of his reign, a young Swiss player, I bet you can guess his name, announced his own arrival by defeating Sampras at Wimbledon. It was a true passing of the torch. What a legacy. For years, tennis fans believed Pete Sampras's record of 14 Grand Slams would stand the test of time, a monumental achievement that seemed untouchable. It felt like the pinnacle of the sport. But little did we know, we were on the verge of a golden era that would completely rewrite the history books. The first architect of this new era was the one and only Roger Federer. He emerged with a style of tennis that was simply breathtaking. It was more than just winning, it was magic. His one-handed backhand was poetry in motion, his movement was graceful, and his all-court game was devastating. Federer didn't just win, he elevated the sport. He took the #1 ranking and held it for a record 237 consecutive weeks. He dominated every surface, and his rivalry with Andy Roddick, Leighton Hewitt, and others defined the mid-2000s. He quickly surpassed Sampras's record, and for a while, it seemed like Roger's reign would be absolute. The GOAT conversation, for many, was already settled. He was the undisputed king. But then, a storm brewed on the clay courts of Roland Garros. A young, fiercely competitive Spaniard named Rafael Nadal burst onto the scene. With his sleeveless shirts, pirate pants, and an unparalleled fighting spirit, Nadal was a force of nature. His topspin forehand, the likes of which had never been seen before, made him practically unbeatable on clay. He became known as the King of Clay, winning the French Open year after year. While Roger dominated elsewhere, Rafa owned Paris. Their rivalry became the stuff of legend, a classic clash of styles, the elegant artist versus the relentless warrior. The peak of their rivalry, and arguably one of the greatest matches ever played, was the 2008 Wimbledon final. Wimbledon was Roger's kingdom, his garden. He was chasing his 6th consecutive title there. But that day, under fading light and after multiple rain delays, Rafael Nadal did the unthinkable. He dethroned Federer on his favorite surface in a grueling 5-set epic. It was a seismic shift in the tennis world. The debate was no longer about one man, it was about two. Federer versus Nadal became the central narrative of tennis for years. Their battles were not just about trophies. They were about legacy, about who was truly the greatest of all time. Just when we thought the sport would be a two-horse race for the foreseeable future, another contender emerged, someone who had been patiently honing his craft in the shadows of these two giants. His name was Novak Djokovic. Initially known for his incredible flexibility and defensive skills, Novak transformed his game, his diet, and his mentality to become an absolute winning machine. He wasn't just content to be third best, he was determined to be the best. He started challenging and beating Roger and Rafa on all surfaces, signaling the arrival of a third superpower. The Big Two had officially become the Big Three. This new dynamic created the most competitive era in tennis history. The three of them pushed each other to unimaginable heights. They monopolized the Grand Slams, the Masters 1000s, and the #1 ranking for over a decade. Each had their period of dominance: Federer's elegant reign, Nadal's clay court dynasty, and Djokovic's era of clinical, near-unbeatable consistency. The GOAT debate became more complex and more passionate than ever before. Every fan had their favorite, and every argument had its merits. So, who is the greatest of all time? It's a question that could be debated for hours. If you define greatness by the impact on the sport and taking tennis to a new level of global popularity and aesthetic beauty, then Roger Federer is a strong candidate. He made tennis look effortless and brought millions of new fans to the game. His grace and sportsmanship made him a global ambassador like no other. For many, he will always be the ultimate tennis icon. Then, there's Rafael Nadal. Perhaps no athlete in any sport has dominated a single event, the way Rafa has dominated the French Open. His record there is simply superhuman. What makes his story even more compelling is the constant battle he has fought against injuries. Throughout his career, he has suffered from chronic foot and knee problems that would have ended the careers of lesser players. Yet, time and time again, he has fought his way back to the top through sheer willpower and an unquenchable desire to compete. His resilience is legendary, and his status as the king of clay is beyond dispute. But if we set aside our feelings and look purely at the cold, hard numbers, the case for Novak Djokovic becomes undeniable. His statistics are simply staggering. He holds the record for the most Grand Slam titles. He has a winning head-to-head record against both Federer and Nadal. He's the only player in history to have won every Grand Slam, all 9 Masters 1000 tournaments, and the ATP Finals at least twice. He spent the most weeks as the world #1. His mental fortitude is perhaps his greatest weapon. Think about the 2012 Australian Open final against Nadal, the longest Grand Slam final in history, an almost 6-hour battle of attrition that Novak won. Or the 2019 Wimbledon final, where he saved 2 championship points against Federer on center court, with the crowd overwhelmingly against him, and still found a way to win. Time and again, in the moments of highest pressure, Djokovic has proven to be unbreakable. While Federer and Nadal may capture more hearts, Djokovic has captured more titles and broken more records. By almost every statistical measure, Novak Djokovic is the GOAT. These three legends have given us an era of tennis that we may never see again. They have pushed the boundaries of what is possible on a tennis court. Some people say the Big Three records are unbreakable, but I don't buy it. Records are made to be broken. Why? 2 words: Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner. These guys aren't just the next generation, they are the now generation, and their rivalry is already one for the history books. Let's start with Carlos Alcaraz. At just 22 years old, this Spanish phenom is already a 6 times Grand Slam champion. Think about that. It's absolutely insane. Commentators and legends of the game describe him as a perfect blend of the Big Three. He's got the relentless defense and fighting spirit of Nadal, the elegant shot-making and all-court game of Federer, and the incredible flexibility and return of serve of Djokovic. He brings an explosive energy to the court that is just pure electricity. Watching him play is like watching an artist and a warrior rolled into one. Every match is a highlight reel waiting to happen. But hold on, Because this isn't a one-man show. Right there, matching him step for step, is Jannik Sinner. The tall Italian with the fiery red hair has a game as powerful as his presence. His ground strokes are like laser beams, flat, deep, and relentless. For a while, people wondered when he would make his big breakthrough, and boy, did he deliver. He's already won 4 Grand Slams, and he might have a few more by the time you're watching this video. What's so impressive about Sinner is his constant improvement. Every season, he comes back with a new weapon, a stronger mindset, and an even bigger hunger to win. His calm demeanor under pressure is incredible, and he's proving to be the ultimate challenge for Alcaraz. What makes this rivalry so special is the contrast in their styles and the sheer quality of their matches. Every time they step on the court against each other, it's a guaranteed epic. They push each other to be better, and in doing so, they're elevating the entire sport. We are witnessing the beginning of a legendary rivalry that could define tennis for the next decade. Could either of them become the future GOAT? Let me know in the comments. We'll find out in about 10 years. These videos take a lot of work to make. If you enjoyed them, please like and subscribe so we can keep growing. I would really appreciate that. Thanks for your support. We'll see you in the next one.